autumn of 1987, in the quiet town of Ravenswood, a young couple named Sarah and Mark Thompson bought a small, two-storey Victorian house on the edge of the forest. It had been abandoned for years, its windows boarded up and its garden strangled by ivy. The locals called it the Hollow House and refused to walk near it after dark. The Thompsons thought the stories were nothing but old small-town myths. They were wrong. From the very first night, Sarah couldn't sleep. The air in the house felt heavy, thick like it carried a presence. Around 3 a.m, she heard footsteps on the floor above them. Slow, dragging, deliberate. Mark searched the entire house with a flashlight, but nothing was there. The next morning, they found muddy footprints leading from the attic door to their bedroom. The prints were small, like those of a child. They didn't have children. Over the next few days, the atmosphere grew colder. Lights flickered, even when the electricity was stable. Doors opened and closed on their own. Sometimes, Sarah swore she could hear whispering when she was alone in the kitchen. A child's voice saying her name softly. Sarah, come play. Mark tried to explain everything logically. Old houses creak. The wiring's bad. Wind through cracks can make strange sounds. But deep down, even he was beginning to doubt himself. One night, while Mark was working late, Sarah was taking a bath. She had left the bathroom door slightly open. As the steam fogged the mirror, she noticed a handprint appear on the glass, small and wet, right beside her reflection. Then faintly, a giggle echoed through the hall. She screamed. When Mark came home, he found her shaking, the bathtub still half full, the water freezing cold. He wanted to leave, but they had spent all their savings on the house. Instead, they decided to bless it. They invited Father Gabriel, an old priest from the nearby church, to come perform a cleansing ritual. As he walked through the rooms, he stopped suddenly in front of a closet under the stairs. Something happened here, he said in a trembling voice. Something that should never have been forgotten. When he opened the door, a foul stench poured out, like rotting earth. Inside was a small wooden box covered in dust. Inside the box was a faded photograph of a young girl, maybe 7 years old, with long dark hair and a doll clutched to her chest. On the back, in faded handwriting, it read, Emily, 1902, Father Gabriel. Sprinkled holy water and began to pray, but halfway through the blessing, the temperature dropped drastically. His candle went out and the whispering returned, louder, angrier. The words were unintelligible, but the tone was clear. Get out! The priest stumbled back, gasping, his cross chains snapping and falling to the floor. He left immediately, saying he could not continue. The couple was terrified, but curiosity overpowered fear. They went to the town archives and found that in 1902, a little girl named Emily Carter had lived in that same house with her parents. One winter night, the house caught fire. Her parents escaped, but Emily was trapped in her bedroom. The fire brigade never found her remains. Rumours said her father built a small coffin and buried it secretly under the stairs, blaming himself for her death. Sarah realised that was where the box had been found. The haunting made sense now. The girl's soul never left. They thought that knowing the truth might bring peace, but it only made things worse. The very next night, Sarah woke up to the sound of a lullaby. A child's voice was singing from the attic. Slowly, she climbed the stairs, candle trembling in her hand. The attic door creaked open, revealing the old rocking chair, gently moving back and forth. On it sat the same doll from the photograph, its head turned toward her, eyes glimmering in the candlelight. Play with me, a whisper said right behind her ear. The candle went out. Ma found her the next morning, sitting on the floor of the attic, eyes open but unblinking, whispering the same lullaby over and over. He tried shaking her, shouting her name, but she wouldn't respond. Doctors said she was in a catatonic state, alive but trapped somewhere deep inside her mind. Mark refused to abandon her. He stayed in the house, taking care of her, hoping one day she would return. But as months passed, to change. Neighbours said they saw him walking through the garden at night, talking to someone invisible, laughing softly. One evening he called the police, screaming that the doll had moved on its own and that Emily was angry. When officers arrived, they found him in the living room, sitting beside the doll, humming that same eerie lullaby. Sarah was nowhere to be found. They searched the entire property, even under the floorboards, but she was gone. The police dismissed it as insanity, claiming Mark had a mental breakdown and harmed his wife. He was admitted to Ravenswood Asylum. A year later, during renovations, construction workers found a hidden space behind the wall in the attic. Inside was a small wooden coffin, and inside it, the remains of a woman clutching a child's doll. No one could explain how it got there. The case was closed, the house sealed again. But locals say that if you stand outside Ravenswood Hill on a quiet night, you can still hear the lullaby drifting through the air. A little girl's voice, and another, older one, singing in harmony. The house remains empty, yet lights flicker inside around 3 a.m, the same hour Sarah first heard